that, and it's actually, I would say, a bit of arrogance to think that all of a sudden, after all these years, you're just going to start playing a few games over in London, or playing. There's talk of Paris, there's talks of Brussels or Berlin or whatever, and think that that's going to be some kind of a more than just an exhibition that's kind of fun to show on TV and have Americans go on vacations, which to me is probably the best part of this idea across the board for the NFL and the MLB. The fact that I could tell from a fact from just looking in the stands and, listening to people being interviewed and such that, thousands of Americans when this, who were Red Sox fans and Yankee fans who found out about this event. What wouldn't be more fun than, a once-in-a-lifetime trip where you've never been to London, the Sox are playing there, they're playing against the Yankees. I mean, that's a great trip. That's a really great trip, and I think probably a higher percentage than they were letting on were American tourists, and I think they could tap that market for a series every year. But if you extending more than that, trying to make it more than just a one-off event or a two-off event like the NFL does, I think is it's foolish thoughts. What it says is that the market in our country is, we've tapped a large percentage of it. Can we have a little more growth? Yes, we can. But we have this whole big wide world out there that has never really experienced our sport, and all they need is a taste of it, and they'll just come clamoring. No chance, no way. I mean, people, I don't think, I've said this before, don't have a real grasp on how omnipresent soccer is. My daughter went to school in London for 4 years. I just traveled to Spain right around the time Barcelona was playing some soccer. I mean, it's more interest, more intense media than NFL football, I would say by far in those countries, because there aren't as many other popular sports. For instance, there is no baseball there that anybody pays attention to whatsoever. So, I think these are fun events, fun enterprises. You can have some gear that says Red Sox on it with London on the back, or, the Red Sox across the front, Big Ben, an image of Big Ben in the back. I think that's all cool. And I think that baseball should continue it. I think it will work. I think it will work as a one-off enterprise. Send the Dodgers and the Giants the next time, or whoever you want to send. Next year, the Red Sox and the Yankees are going to play there again. And then they are exploring, perhaps going to other European cities. But I don't think in my lifetime, and I don't think if you're younger than me in your lifetime, are you going to see real live NFL football or Major League Baseball being played on the continent. I just don't think it's going to happen. And as I said before, I think that having this as an enterprise that's just fun for your television partners, fun for your American fans who can travel, that's all well and good. Baseball and football should not have, they can say they can have their eyes on expanding over to Europe, but I don't think it's ever going to happen. I think a lot of people think there's going to be one NFL franchise over there. I don't even think that's going to happen. Well, am I going to be stunned if one NFL franchise went over there? Not absolutely stunned, but I'll be surprised. And if there's any significant inroads for either the NFL or Major League Baseball in Europe, I'll be absolutely shocked. And, of course, one of the reasons for that is that the world sport is soccer, and this was a big weekend in soccer, both locally and nationally. Women's World Soccer team now in the semifinals, World Cup soccer team now in the semifinals, and the men playing in the CONCACAF Gold Cup. And Sporting, unfortunately, not wrapping up what had been a pretty decent road month away from Children's Mercy Park with a bad performance. We'll explore all that coming up next.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
We're here with Joe Spiker, the president of Easton Roofing. And Joe, you worked for other companies in the construction industry. What inspired you to start your own company in Easton Roofing?
Well, Danny, when you are working for somebody else, you oftentimes don't get to see the project through from beginning to end, and you don't get the final control over the customer experience. And I wanted to build a place where people can come and get work done on their house and not have to worry about being treated the wrong way, and get a good customer service experience start to finish.
The company slogan is "Where Integrity Matters." Why is that so particularly important to you?
Well, for us, what that means is treating each other with respect at work, treating our clients with respect, and making the right choice, especially when no one's looking. So when you're presented all the time as a contractor with choices that have to be made. Are you going to make more money on this if you cut a corner? And we just wanted to make a place and a slogan that said to our people and to whoever is our customer, we're not going to do that. We're going to make the right choice regardless of profit.
Easton Roofing, where integrity matters. Sumner One is the company to make your office maximize efficiency. Their family of companies make up one of the largest independent dealers of office technology in the Midwest. They are proud to bring the best service and technology to top companies across the region. Sumner One can help your organization run more smoothly than ever. Sumner One printers, copiers, MFPs, managed print services, document management, infrastructure design, IT services, disaster recovery, and business continuity. Welcome to the one place where everything works. For more information, call Carl Little at 913-752-2256.
For many people, a family law case will be one of the most difficult experiences in their life. The law firm of Kenneth McRae will help you through it. Personal and effective help from Ken in concert with you will develop a unique strategy for your unique case. As Ken always says, divorce can be civil law, not civil war. Licensed in Kansas? Visit McRaeLawOffice.com or call 913-972-4765.
I was duped, and I recommend you be next. For better or worse, the ultra-realistic impression of me sits now in my wife's office to spook her on a daily basis. So what is Doob? D-O-O-B. It's the keepsake of a lifetime, a 3D-generated, incredibly lifelike figurine. 66 cameras take an image at exactly the same moment in any pose, and state-of-the-art 3D technology transforms that into exact replicas of you, anyone you know or love, a pet, whomever is close to your heart. Create lifetime memories with a Doob. Visit their Facebook page at Doob 3D Kansas City, or better yet, see their incredible creations. Visit their location down on the plaza in the heart of it at 231 West 47th Street in KC Mo. Doob, be next. Welcome back to the Weekend Sports Wrap, the extended soccer weekend, which was a big one to say the least. Started on Friday afternoon with the much-anticipated game, which many people in the quarterfinals were calling a final-type game in the World Cup. You have to play them out, but the United States seemingly got past their biggest obstacle in taking down France, in Paris, as a matter of fact, after a game that they did not play particularly well against Spain, but won. The U.S. women's team played well, but I don't think still at their best, and I think probably were slightly outplayed by the team from France, but beat them 2-1. Megan Rapinoe was the one with the 2 goals and the great celebration that she does, just standing up straight and holding her arms way out to the side. It's simple, and it's really cool, I think. And even Rapinoe was open about saying that she thought the French on the ball probably played better play-to-play and pass-to-pass than the United States did, but they got the win. They were ruthless in their scoring opportunities, as she said, and she got 2 of them, and now she is among the leading goal scorers in this championship. And now it will be what should really be a incredibly fun matchup on Tuesday as the United States and England go at it. And England has played very well in this tournament over the years, but they have never played to the ultimate level of winning it. And they've been playing at a high level. Should be a great match, but still the United States will be a huge favorite for the last 2 games, no matter who they play. And it will be a big upset if they lose in either the semifinal or the final. But there's a lot of pride around this U.S. team, and I think there is that unifying thing that people in the United States get when their athletes are playing and their athletes are also at their best, and their athletes are the best. Now, this isn't a type of situation like the old dream team in basketball where there's no opposition. Women's soccer has come far too far for that to be the case. And on the other side of the bracket, there's a couple of teams that haven't had all that much success of late as far as the championship is concerned. The United States will be a big favorite against England in the semifinal. They'll be an even bigger favorite no matter who they play in the championship game, which comes up on July 7th. That record heat in France is something that we continue to see all around the world, and the weather extremes, of course, are grave and lead to many political discussions, some of them silly and quite unlearned, and some of them just people trying to be a bit contrarian. I think anybody who pays attention to anything can see that we do have more weather extremes than we ever have, and it certainly affects sports. And you see that with blistering heat and dry conditions, and I'm finally going to have to water my lawn as well. Well, Sporting Kansas City wanted to turn the heat up on their playoff chances Saturday night at Real Salt Lake. They had gotten at least a result in their first 3 games of a 4-game road trip, as it were, through the entire month of June. It's not like they left Kansas City for the entire month, but they did not and will not play a MLS game in Kansas City in the month of June, of course, which is now passed into July. They're back home on Wednesday, but they finished off the month of June with just a dud in Real Salt Lake as they were beaten 2-0 and easily were the team that, sometimes 2-0 results, it can be a very even game in the game of soccer, but it was certainly not the case in this one. Peter Remise was pretty darn blunt and critical about the effort of his team and just didn't think they had spirit or fight. He showed it pointedly by benching his best potential goal scorer in Christian Nemeth at halftime and brought on Johan Krause as he was somebody who he said, I just wanted somebody who was going to bring some energy to the position. It's a real broadside to a player in any situation when, first of all, he's pulled at the half, which in soccer is basically the equivalent of more than a tongue lashing, because usually a player will at least get an opportunity to play a little bit of time in the second half, or almost any substitution that is made at halftime in a soccer game is a real indictment of the team's play in the first half. That didn't get much better in the second half, which was scoreless, and Sporting falls 2-0 to Real Salt Lake, 10th place in the 12-team Western Conference. Still 7 teams make the playoffs. It's hardly as if Sporting is in a horrendous position now, but they'd have the best team in all of MLS soccer coming in on Wednesday night, a team that's only lost 1 game all year in LAFC, and that would be either the opportunity to continue some woes, which would be kind of expected. You don't expect to go out there and beat LAFC. They've lost 1 game all year. But if you did do it, it would be quite a statement and maybe a boost to you, because you get Chicago coming in on the weekend. You could make it very inspirational back-to-back wins at home. So a very, very vital week as far as Sporting Kansas City is concerned and their playoff chances and their chances of not having to really hit the gas pedal in order to make the playoffs. A couple of non-results this week, say they get 1 point out of 6 or something like that, and that will indeed put them in a uphill climb position. If they were to split the points, say, or maybe get the win against Chicago and get a draw and get 4 points, splitting the points would be a win and a loss. That's the only way you could do it. But if they were to get a draw against LAFC, say, and a win against Chicago FC, that would be a good week. That would be a good week's work, and would put them in a position where there'd be less stress as they head into the second half of the MLS season. And wrapping up the extended weekend of important soccer around the world, the U.S. men's national team was in action. Well, inaction might be a little too nice to the U.S. men's national team. They played against Curacao, and they won 1-0, and they advanced, and that's what you're supposed to do, and they played Jamaica on Wednesday. But it wasn't a particularly impressive match, to say the least. They were outplayed in the second half, kind of hung on for victory. U.S. fans got their dose of Christian Pulisic in the first half, an outstanding play to set up the only goal of the game as the U.S. wins 1-0, but nothing really impressive about what they've done the last couple of outings. This tournament is more about winning or bust, so you have to absolutely win, but it's not the greatest prize in the world. The United States has won it many times. They've been in the finals most of the time. It's basically avoiding losing, so I guess on that level, that was the case. It was a good thing, but to get outplayed by Curacao, the 79th ranked team in the world, something like that in the second half, not necessarily a good sign, but the World Cup and qualification there is the big prize. Just don't stumble in the last 2 games, especially if they were to lose to Jamaica. Mexico probably lies ahead in the finals, but we'll have to wait and see in the Gold Cup. And finally, the sports weekend for many, very many, was dominated by NBA free agency, which opened up yesterday on a Sunday. And it is one of the biggest stories in sports now, and it just shows the remarkable growth of the NBA, a league that's built on stars. Think about all the people who signed on Sunday. They're all known by anything but their last name. they're either a one-name person like Kyrie, or they're a initial person like KD, who both ended up on the Brooklyn Nets, who made the biggest splash yesterday. That is one of the keys to the NBA.